G'day once again. In the Torana. One thing I noticed when I was getting ready for my pink slip registration inspection is my high beam headlights weren't working. I think I know why. When I pulled the front out, the steering wheel out for what was it for? The return spring for my indicators. I think I may have pulled the wire for the high beam switch at that point, because they're all pretty close together with the assembly inside. So thought I'd have a quick look at what's going on in there and see if I can fix it. If I turn my headlights on, you'll see they're on, and there's no change when I pull on the stalk. So going to start by disconnecting my horn, because this is very sensitive and it doesn't take much while I'm undoing these bolts to touch the, oh, maybe I already have. Oh no, there you go. Yeah, just disconnect the horn so it doesn't go off while I'm doing that. The horn. It's done. LEDs. It's the right one. Okay, now just need to undo the bolt for the steering wheel. That's the one. Down there. Now there's my indicators, and you'll see the bottom of this stalk, there's actually a little button under there which when pulling back actually activates the high beam, and there's a wire that goes through it, so need to check if that wire is still connected, which I will do by pulling out this screw, which I think pulls the stalk out. And there's the culprit. I don't know if you can see that, but there is a wire broken off, which is just sitting inside there. So I might disconnect the battery at this stage and see if I can get that out. And I'll have to solder it back onto this tab here. Thought I'd put some light on the subject. Something else I'm going to try is give my 12 volt soldering iron a go. I normally just go straight for the 240 volt, but since this is handy, I'll see if it works. If it does, then even better. Something worth investing in if you're doing a bit of soldering is a soldering iron holder. Just ensures that it's sitting safe and not going to hit anything in the car. So yeah, there's only a few dollars. Picked it up with some credit that I had with the local super cheap shop. Okay, well, I think all I achieved was to blow the fuse for the cigarette lighter, so back to old trusty, I'll use the 240 volt and that'll heat it up faster and hotter anyway. So I'll just prepare this wire with taking off a little bit of insulation and cleaning up the wire so I get a clean joint. Okay, not sure how clear it is, but I've just cleaned up that tab with the soldering iron, taking off the old wire and the old solder, and I've got some bare wire as well on here, so just about to put some baker's fluid on that and a bit of solder, and hopefully we'll get a clean permanent connection. Okay, probably won't earn any prizes for soldering, but I've got it in there and it's pretty secure. I've tugged on it already, so I'll just chuck that back into its position so I can get leverage and see if it works. So I've screwed it in, but it doesn't seem to be giving me the desired result. I'm getting no change on the headlights, so I'm going to have to dig deeper. I know at one stage, just turn the lights back on, at one stage I put in this new barrel, key barrel, and to do that I had to take out all of this assembly, drop the steering column and pull the wiring out while I replace the barrel, because you need to align the key up with the rack, and possibly that has loosened something at that point. So I'm going to have to chase these wires through. Just looking at the way that the indicators work, there's constantly movement on that little relay, so I thought that might have been the problem, but obviously there's something more to it. You'll see also I have replaced this return spring recently. It wasn't returning when I turned left from memory, and it just needed another return spring in it, so I did that. So there's been a few things done recently that may have impacted on this high beam, and I just need to track it through. So I'll drop the steering column next and track those wires. Okay, so you can see the wiring loom. That looks like possibly the high beam there actually. I have to get rid of all these other wires that I've got hanging around. I've rewired, this is all a Speed Hut dash, which is a digital dash from the States. So there's a lot of old wires and excess wires which I didn't want to get rid of altogether, so I've hung up, which are currently in the way. But anyway, I will check this wire and make sure there's no breaks in it. To give me some room with these wires, there's 3 screws I've got to get out from that holds this plate in. There's one in there and 2 more. Just take those out. Then I'll get the indicator high beam assembly out, and then I'll go from there. Just want to make sure this button is still working before I go too far. So I've got my ohm meter on continuity, and I'm just testing it. So that's definitely working. So I'll continue down the steering column. I've just taken out the bolt to give me some more length. You'll see that's the wiring loom there. Now this is a white wire, And just tracking that, other than a little bit of spray paint, overspray, that's the white wire there, which then, again, this is in the way, which is really annoying me now. Goes to this connector and heads off into there. The other part is black. Just take these alligator clips off. And that, I'm assuming, is this black wire, or this black wire. No, it can't be that black wire, that goes back up to the loom. So I'm assuming it's this one, which is supposed to make an earth on here. And that earth is then transferred via the bolts into the chassis, the metal framework. So I'll just make sure I've got earth all through the system, and then I'll check that wire for continuity. So just confirming, I've got the black wire connected via this alligator clip to the multimeter, and as soon as I connect it to that black wire, you can hear the beep to confirm that its connection continues through to that terminal. So as I say, that then earths out via a screw into the column, but you'll notice it's not beeping at the moment. Okay, just checking for continuity for the earth, proper earth. So I've just got that connected to the alligator clip. That's the one that goes into the wiring loom. And I know that they go straight into the body. So getting a good connection there. No resistance. So just going to double check those connections and try the high beam again. So a new day, new perspective on things. As you can see, I've put the steering column back up. I traced that white wire through to the engine bay and the relay, and I confirmed with my meter that the white wire was actually activating down at the plug, down in here. Sorry, I've already put the relay back together. I checked the other wires and there was voltage with ignition on and voltage with the light switch on, but I did pull the relay apart. Now these are just pinched with this pretty soft metal. You'll just see where I've put the pinches back into the bottom of the metal to put it back together. But that came apart, and I looked at the coils and contacts and just cleaned the contacts up a little bit, and I must admit I dropped it at one stage putting it back together, but I think I might have knocked it back into shape, because now put my headlights on, you hear a big click from the relay and the dash, got the blue light. So I now have lights again. But anyway, you now know where the indicator, the high beam stalk goes. And this was a problem, so I had to solder that back. So that wasn't a wasted effort. Just glad it's all working again.